Hello, hello everyone. Exen, hello Faisal. Thank you for being here, guys, and everybody else. Thank you. How are you today? It's Tuesday afternoon. It's time for... Not time for Crazy Joe yet. I might not do Frostfire Mine. I will record Frostfire Mine for a video guide, actually, for Cathy and... yeah, for Cathy and video guide, I would record it. So I might not do it live, but we'll do everything else. And in a moment, we will start with Cathy, actually. Just waiting for a few more people to be on. Salut Valentin, bienvenue. Salut Chez Gonzalez. How was your vacation? Did you relax? I don't know if I relaxed. You know, we went to see the northern lights, or the Aurora Borealis. We did not really see them, to be honest, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But else it was very good, you know. We did some snowmobile, ski. Like a lot of hiking in the snow. It's like the lakes were frozen with half and a meter and a half of ice, so you could walk on the lakes anywhere, things like that. So that was lovely. We had really good food, overall good weather. Just that with the travel option we picked were super tiring, so we arrived super tired and we come back super tired. So health, was a good time. Could visit a bit of Norway as well. We had very beautiful landscape in Norway. Like we went to... I don't even remember what it's called. Google Maps, help me. So we were in Kiruna, in the north of Sweden. And we took the car, we went to Abisko, that's still in Sweden. And then we went on the other side, we went to Narvik. So it's like a ski station as well. So it's like in the fjords. So you have like the sea, and the city is around the sea, and you drive a bit, like a few hundred meters, then you are at the bottom of the ski resort, and then when you take the lift from the ski resort, you see the fjord and the sea, right? Which is a very, we have ski resorts here. I'm in the French Alps, so we have a lot of ski resorts. We go skiing regularly, but we don't have the sea, So that view was really amazing to have both, like the ski, the snow, and the fjords and the sea. That we really enjoyed. That was really cool, to be honest. That was Narvik, so that was amazing. But we, just wish we saw some northern lights. But it's a natural phenomena, so it is what it is. So let's start slowly on KT. I have 1 hour before we have Crazy Joe, and I need to use my troops and stuff. Maybe I send another rally then. I do. The wife actually did all the pictures and the... So we are a team, right? When we travel, she takes the pictures of the landscape, and I take the food. So I'm making the social post, we do for friends and family with food, and she does the rest. So here we go. So let's do a bit of that affinity. Hopefully we have enough piles to get, a bit further here. I probably need 50 or something. I don't know if I can do that. I should be able to. Did it pop a pack? It did not pop a pack. If it pops a pack, I'm gonna buy it. Yeah, that's maybe I can do 50, but I cannot do more somehow. So let's do that. I feel like a whale right now, you know. I can do 57. So I need to see. I need to see what's available to me. So let's upgrade the first skill as far as we can. And now I need to close one. So I got 45% XP from the patrol. So that's pretty good. Norway, yeah, we have a bit. But you know, like, when you are like on a mountain and you have like these big landscapes, like we do fun pictures, right? We don't have like proper, I don't know how you call it, apparel, like to take pictures. So you never catch, you never really catch how crazy it is, basically. It's really, really hard to catch how crazy it is. Let's do one more here. Let's spend the speed ups. It's not a very useful, you know, it's not a very useful, but a bit of deployment capacity, like it's, you know, it's give us a bit of, I guess, peace of mind. The one I really want and really care about is this one. So we're gonna spend like 10 days or 15 days of speed ups and see what we can do here. Wow, that's insane. So let's do a bit more. I think I'm gonna leave it to level 5 for today, to be honest. That's too much. That's too much. So I need to upgrade other skills. So let's do 5 days on this one. Let's see. So that the reward, it's pretty good as well. So, you know, you want more rewards, right? Wow, that's expensive, you know? That's really expensive for what it is. So that's what's gonna be reasonable to me, to be honest, is maybe I can do a bit more of that. I need to check my speed ups. Let's do that. Because, you know, that's something you want to do early. I don't buy the bigger packs, but these I do up to 20 nowadays on. So she's 60, which means we got health and, you know, and lethality. Can we do that? It's close one, so we cannot. That does not worth it. That's the only one that could be worth it if I wanted to. Johnson, have you heard anything from Star? He's doing us infidelities, I think. He's studying, I don't know. I did not as well. It was not the, you know, did not, I came back a few days ago and I did not see him. I'm sure he's okay, but maybe busy with exams. Salut Soul Goodman, merci pour les guides, je t'en prie. Je t'en prie. So I was hoping we could do a bit more. That is it giving my state a bit of point? 6 million. You know, it's not much. I'm not gonna go crazy this SVS, especially because it seems to be at our advantage so far. So how many speed ups do I need? Because I need to keep my general speed ups a bit. Yeah, that's going very low on general speed ups. And, you know, I need to keep some 4012. So I think I use more than enough. More than I really need a Myriad Bather pack, to be honest. It's kind of lacking right now. So today, yeah, that's gonna be too much. It's gonna be too much. So we're gonna slowly work on these two skills. So that's gonna give us 2,500 times 30 minutes. So that's 27 minutes even, right? So that's gonna be nearly 70k points. So that's pretty good. But that needs to be upgraded, and that's giving us charm designs. Do I want more charm designs? Is that, you know, is it worth the... Is it worth it to do like 6-7 days? Yeah, but I mean, the first one is really important because you're gonna unlock the skills very, very quickly. So you're gonna save, you know, quite a bit of stress. It's a bit better for whales, so they can gather level 3 mines a bit faster than for me. But for me, it's gonna help me to unlock the skills very quickly. So that's gonna be, you know, I don't know how much points it's gonna give. If that at least 10k maybe, because you will get the 5k per minute a bit sooner, something like that. Actually need to see when we do the events on the crazy they have a crazy bear and an event in Kingshot today. We do like what they do like the whales of the state. So that's gonna be in 2 hours, so I need to not miss that. The whale of the states are moving between the top 2 alliances, and they do a crazy bear from time to time for people trying to get resources. So that's pretty cool, and that's today. So that's in 2 hours from now, so I need not to miss that. And then we have Vikings. I can gather for 2 hours. That's account is set, and we can play Whiteout in the meantime. That's, you know, I've gained 10% stats. I've gained, that's gonna be 67.5. Have you been to Middle East? No, actually never. Middle East actually never. I went to really like Asia a bit, America a tiny bit. I traveled a lot, mostly in Europe. But Middle East never, South America never. I went to Sao Paulo for work, so I would not really consider it travel, you know. I've seen so little of it. I've seen the business the business part of Sao Paulo, so I didn't really see Brazil, I guess. Central America, I went to Costa Rica. Africa, I did not went. So Australia, I did not. So many places to go. Many places to go still. But I really think that's reasonable. I care about this one and this one because they're gonna help me rank better, right? And if most people don't have these today, I might be ranking quite easily, and I'll make a video. No, that's okay, Faisal. Up to you. Both are working for me. I'll just check a bit less Twitch. I need to. I'm not an OBS expert. Like the software to stream, I really need to find someone that can help you with setting up an OBS to where it's easier for me to monitor the chat and what's going on. I need to buy like a streamer package on some of the website or something. Does not matter which one I get, it will never be ready anyway. Let's start. I'll do this one first to get one more, and I'll do this one after. But that's gonna be what I spend for today. And that's giving me 1 level, so that's really insane. That's going nowhere. And do I want to go René? We have, I mean, I don't have the books anyway. We have Alliance Showdown next week, so I'll do that later. So what else do I need to do? I'll do my team for Crazy Joe. It's a bit of a mess to register for Alliance, so either I do all my troops now, all my buff now for pets. I pop deployment and I'll register in Alliance Championship as well. I do that. Blanchette, because we're gonna max Blanchette as well now. So it's start to say goodbye to... We slowly start to say goodbye to Bradley. Slowly start to say goodbye to Bradley. So let's see if we are lucky with the lucky wheel before I do the thing. Crazy Joe 45 minutes. I have a bit of time. I've just not decided what I do. So I need to speed 120 times. Finnish President Day app. I have no idea about that. How prepared are you for T12, Sebastian? We'll look at that in a sec if you want. That was terrible spin. That's an okay spin. Next Monday we got Gen 11. We got T12. You know, it's so a bit sad that's Alliance, so that's really good. That's really, really good again. That's 11 of them. The last two spins have been a crazy. That's 11 of them again, so I'm very lucky so far. Wow, that's another 11. That's my best luck ever. You know? Wow. Wow, 12! I never had that many, to be honest. 4, that's fair enough. You know, it has to be low sometimes. 3 is okay. That's another 10. So I probably have 190 kind of lucky wheel, which is a bit amazing. Now you can click and collect all of them at once. That's pretty cool. There is nothing else to you know, to do. They're all maxed out. I'm gonna max out now. Yeah, there are things to do next week for Gen 11. So I'm gonna, you know, benefit from a max hero for a tiny bit longer. You got 23 in one spin, that's amazing. I wish running was a bit better, but I like her 4 skill. The reward on the red trucks are pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, she gave me quite, I mean, I don't know if it's really worth it, you know, if it's really amazing, but let's say that she feels useful in the sense that I often get a loot back, and I often get an extra one. So, you know, I'm gonna get more red trucks soon. So it's all gonna be okay in the end, you know. I'm just missing so much speed ups. You know, I'm actually hesitating. Like, what do you think is the best places to get speed ups? Do you consider that good? I need general speed ups with the expert. I'm missing so much general speed ups. And I don't know where to get them. I'd never considered buying general speed ups. You cannot get learning speed-ups here. I mean, you can get, but that's 10 hours per pack. You get a bit of books. But that feels terrible to me. I really don't know what the best spots. Sammy says weekly for sure. Yeah, but that's very little, you know. How much is 48 times 5 in hours? That's 240 divided by 6. So that's 4 hours. That's 12 hours. That's 13 hours. 13 hours times 7. That's 91 hours divided by 24. Divided by 24. That's 3.8 days. Wow. That's insane. That's insane. You know, it's like... Wow, that's 3.8 days. Yeah, I might need to swap some stuff like that. Sat is saying, hey Sat, I miss you joining. Thank you for being here. I might need to try to swap here, but now we have these as well. You know, we have these. These are expensive. These are really expensive. So I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna stop getting chief gear. I'm gonna stop getting charms, I think. I'm gonna get these now. So I don't know what to do. What do you think the next tyrant is going, the next expert is going to be? For me, like, they open so many doors, I really don't know anymore. I would love a pet expert. I would love a pet expert somehow. I don't know what it will do, but I think a little, or an island expert, things like that. But we know with doing like a Ronnie, And the Catty, they opened so much doors of doing expert for smaller events. Like everything else was kind of bigger, you know, like that was both Tundra Armlings and Foundry, which are kind of emblematic every 2 weeks, but these are every 2 weeks. So what else we have every 2 weeks? We could have a Crazy Joe expert, but you know, we are kind of have Baldur that does a bit of Crazy Joe. So I really don't know. They could do a lot. They could do a lot now. They could do it. They probably opened up like to 10 experts, you know. They could be a Fire Crystal expert, you know, to support us. An Exploration expert. To support our like income of steel for the next, you know, because the amount of steel is totally insane. Totally insane for T12. So FDT expert is a matter of time. They could be, yeah. Can you show War Academy research? Of course I can. That's where it's at. So I'm nearly maxed here. I mean, nearly maxed. I mean, I got a bit, right? But this one is like 1,500, the last one. So I'm far from maxed. I'm going level 9 because if T12 are coming, I will do Lancers last. So I'm improving my... I don't know if these... Some people are saying that these are not required to get T12. Or they are required to level 5, or they are not required at all to get T12. In their communication, they said that you need to unlock T11 to be able to get T12. They never said you need to max out the research. So for us, that just, I mean, for people that got T11 for a very long time and that are maxed for a very long time, they got a good use of these. But for us, it feels so, will feel so unfair. I mean, so like, I don't know how to, what the right word, but like, if we did not need it to do any of that to get T12, I would have never went that far. I would have kept so much more for T12, you know? So, I don't know. But that's where I'm at, you know? But that's a lot, you know? I need to convert a lot of fire. I'm still probably missing 20,000 fire crystal shards to get there. So it's pretty tough. Holy shit, I forgot they upgraded. Yeah, so RFC in Labyrinth shop, so what do, you know? I was like, I'm kind of buying everything I want in the Labyrinth shop, and now it's like, I'm not buying everything I want at all. At all. Nobody is catching up, so I'm happy with that. I'm still first somewhere, guys. Still somewhere. Should I go Greg or Alonso to 4 stars? I mean, you know, Simon, it really depends. Both are good options. By default, it will be Alonso, though. By default, it will be Alonso because you can use him offensively for Bear. You know, if you don't give me more context, I'll say Alonso. It's so hard to get FC shard. I mean, they come in quite quick now. I look at my farm and, you know, they come in quite quick at that stage in FC10, but... yeah, it's not that easy, I understand. So let's do that. And I don't need deployment capacity for... Do I need that for Frostfire Mine? I don't really, right? So I could pop all of that. Register in Alliance Championship. Let's do that. When do I get it? I get it in 8 minutes. So we're gonna wait 7 minutes before we do all of that. Let's go on the farm quick. We have 7 minutes, guys, so let's push on the farm a bit while we wait. Put a like to help Tonton's great work. Hello, Slim. Salut Slim, bienvenue. I believe the dev said that we need T11 to unlock T12. They didn't say anything about the research beyond. That's exactly what, yeah, that's exactly what their wording was not super specific either, but they say that the requirement is unlocking T11, so... But they, you know, there are rumors about various things, so... You know, until we know, we don't. So I'll see next Monday. I'm not too stressed about it. Whatever, you know, whatever they do, we'll have to adjust for it. So So what do I do here? I did not do my charms yesterday, so let's spin the wheel. Let's see if we are lucky, because that's need to happen anyway. That was 2, that was terrible. That 3, that's not really good. That's 7, that's decent. That's 4. That's pretty good, that's 10. Love it. I don't have refined FC in my labyrinth shop. Probably FC8 or something. So I'm not super lucky. I mean, this one is pretty insane. So that's 10. That's 15. That's one of my best ever, I think, 15. How much are FC in the labyrinth shop? So there are 3 of them and they cost 1,500 each. So they are insanely expensive. They are insanely expensive. That was not too bad. That was nothing crazy. So same weekend maxed out. I got a bit less lucky on the farm. I got 30 less shards extra. So we got the max Blanchette, we got the max Fred, we got the max Magnus, which was a big mistake, but it is what it is. Let's do whatever we can for SVS point. What do we have here that we can do? That's it. That's it for the point. Then we need to do the camp. So I'm not doing any, you know, I'm not doing any help, any reduction of time. I just have too many speed ups, to be honest. I should have just enough. I calculated that, you know, before the stream, so I should just have enough to do that. See, bam, bam, bam. So, bam, the farm is fully FC10. What's up with that? Like someone, you know, is saying. So that's pretty cool. So FC10 on the 3 camps on the farm. And maybe we got lucky. Wow, nothing new. That's insane. So did the lower FC10 in state after 500 days. You know, these things could be like 50 days is a lot. 2 weeks, yeah, you can have a variation of 2 weeks, you know, but 50 is a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if they did. I don't have people like that came to me with that, so I'm not sure. But that's 50 days a lot. You will have told me 2 weeks, I will be like, yeah, sure, happens. Seven minutes are nearly gone, so we will be able to move back. What else can we do today on the farm? They are not too far, you know, so... What else can we do today? Because I didn't do my charm yesterday, so I need to do them tomorrow. I remember that they cannot be today. I've made 30 million points so far, so that's not crazy. Can I start a building or 2? Yeah, see, I'm missing some of that. I'm missing... So you can, basically, what you can do as free-to-play, every SVS, I've been doing that for 3 months, you can barely do 1 camp. You need to super refine 40 times, 1 week, and 20 times 3 weeks out of 4 weeks, in which the game, when you are at that stage, give you enough fire crystal to do that as a free-to-play player. It takes a month to unlock a camp, basically. It's starting Gen 10. Okay, so it's very late. It's very late, but for us, that's how it looks. If you look at the shop, you get 3 for 1,500. So that might be a FC10 thing only. Some people in FC9, they don't have it, they say, so... So what else can we do today? Speed up, speed up. Play the lucky wheel, hero shard, gathering, book. So let's look at my experts. I'm not gonna do her at all on my expert. I'm not, you know, I'm gonna put her level 10 maybe. To be able to use the free shard that the game gave me, but and to get a bit of stat, but so whenever I have some shards, I can use them. Maybe I unlock some achievements. No, I'm not doing Fabian, not doing Foundry as well. So I'm not doing Fabian, not doing Cathy. So you can clearly skip some. I'm not really doing Rone, but I don't need her a bit. 24. Do I want to do Rone? I think I'll finish Fabian. I think finish, not Fabian, finish Holger on my farm. Boom. I got the max 3 items in the store. Max discount. Packs to buy, I don't care. And let's look at the shop. What do I get in Arena? So third discount is this one. This I bought with like... I should have waited. Which event is the best to spend general speed up before Furnace? 30 for new players. Takata. I mean, yeah, I usually use that on all of Chief, to be honest. Even if I cannot... Sorry for the burps. Even if I cannot rank very high. I do that on all of Chief usually. That's one of the best plays. But you can pick any event. It's just that... No, all of Chief is a recurring event. You got it regularly. If you save a bit, you might be able to rank to top 50. If you spend, it's another, you know, I'll do all of Chief as well, actually. Especially if you can rank top 10 or something like that. I don't think I can do anything more here. I'll just do that. And we'll see if we can get a bit better, you know. Because we improved there. That's the new ratio that I posted on Discord. That allowed me to get... Actually, I got a few more levels yesterday, so I could get 12 more level with that ratio. Does not work on my main at all, but work on my farm somehow. See, one more. But that's as well, I improved them. I improved our friend Branched 2 levels, and then next week I'll be able to do Rufus. Maybe I wait for either next SVS to do Rufus or next seasonal event. Good luck then for the minister appointment. Let's push, let's go. I don't think we have... I don't know what seasonal event we will get soon. What do you think we can get? Children's Week is like usually late in May or early June from what I could track. So we might have a Tundra Adventure. What else could we have? Easter is past. So I don't know if we have a seasonal event anytime soon. Like for me, Myriad Badar is late on the schedule of PAX. So I guess because of the something else. I guess because what did we have recently? That works pretty cool. Somehow, I cannot make that work on my farm, on my main at all. It does terrible, that new ratio, with like 2 Lancers, 2 Marksman marches. That could be interesting to see. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. But on my farm, it's working crazy, so it's I guess it has to do with my gear. The gear I have on my main makes the other ratio a bit better. I think it's gonna mostly be it for today, and I'm just gonna send my gatherers again. I mean, yeah, they gave us something else, but they gave us Treasure Hunter. I mean, last year we had both, right? We had Journey of Light and we had Treasure Hunter. This year we had and we did not have the proper Easter last year. This year we had the proper Easter and we had Treasure Hunter, so... It means that if we don't have a good event soon, they could give us, for example, Journey of Light instead. That, you know, many people have been waiting for a Journey of Light. I might consider maxing it as well for once on my you know, my city. The farm is okay. The farm is okay for now. I'm not at 1 million yet power, but I'm not that far, you know. So we got the buff. So now what we need to do is to find good people. We need to find good people. Let's use that to update our marches as well, because I'm terrible with that. So I need to get Aurora is usually a good one, but I'll check. So what we do here, I don't know if you do that, but we do that. We do a little poll. So we have Rin, Alice, and these are ranked by power, right? So you want to check at the bottom. So Maticus, Jack, Essen, Sate, Mia, Alice, Rin, Moon, Luffy, and these people are already, you know, 700 million. They have a lot of troops already. So it's more Jack. So these people have the more likely, if they are already empty like they say they are most likely good, you know. It's just too sad we cannot locate them, you know. And then offline and all marches out, we have, that's really good. Aurora as well is usually angry coach. So these two are very weak. So c'est sûr that will be worth it. Angry as well and Aurora. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna use Aurora to be kind of one of my neighbor. But then I can pull the troops back very easily. So I'm gonna give her Gen 1. I'm gonna give her Gen 1. If I do 1, oh, let's do 1, 1, 50. How much troop is that? 150. That's perfect. I'm missing, you know, southern troops, but I don't care. Save by ratio. 150. So let's do that. So let's do Gen 1 here as well. So Gen 1 we have Natalia. And we have, I don't want to use Molly because we use Molly for something else. So let's look another purple. 150, deploy, save. By ratio. Then here let's do Gen 2. So I'm gonna use Flint actually. I think it's a decent choice. So let's do Gen 3. We can do Logan. And what do we have Gen 3? With Gen 3 as a Lancer. Is Mia, but I'm gonna use Mia. So let's do another Gen 1 we are not using. That's 3 by ratio. And then we have Magnus. So Magnus, let's do Gen 4. Lynn, I'm not using. And Patrick, we're not using as well. So that's 4 marches, and we want to save by ratio. That works for Bear as well. Then we can start to send to people, right? These 4 marches. And what we want to do then now is 100% marksman infantry to start. So did I pop that? Did I pop the 10%? I got all I want. Did we say Jack? The Wells are not happy about no Journey of Light. Yeah, that's a very good event for them. They got Hero Shard, they got a lot of things, so... You know, they make them max out the event even more. So that's the dude that was kind of empty and offline, and he's weak. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna actually give him Magnus, but I'm gonna give him his second marksman, and I'm gonna give my second lancer as well. So my second lancer will be Fred. So that's gonna be Freya with the gear. I'm gonna help that person that seems to be pretty weak. That's rough. Then that's really rough. Is Jasvir answered the vote? So that's a weaker dude, so let's give him 100% infantry. Alice, she says, but she's a girl, so she's fully reinforced. We'll see. We'll see if I don't find something better. I'll go here. Because she's online, so that's really, you know, that's really good. And who do we go for the next one? We had Mia as well that said that she will be... and Mia, I don't think she's very strong. So can I do like... I'll do Flint. That's gonna be my Flint team. Let's do Rene, let's do Later Gens. It's gonna be my Flint team, that's gonna be good enough. There we go. An Angry Cockroach as well said they were not really available. So let's do Sonia. Is that the best option I can do? Sonia, Gatot, let's give them good heroes just in case they are not really strong as well. I should have a decent teams today. Hey you got welcome. Valentin, pour CJ, quel héros devons-nous garder? Tu peux garder, tu as plusieurs choix. Soit tu gardes tes meilleurs héros, mais c'est pas toujours la meilleure solution. En fait, si tu as beaucoup, ce que tu peux faire, si tu as beaucoup de... Regarde. Si dans ta base, il te reste beaucoup de tireurs, tu peux faire ça. So that's something I'll explain for everyone. If you have struggling with not burning in Crazy Joe and you have a lot of marksmen in your city, you can do your best marksman, you can do Hector. Donc tu peux faire Hector, ton meilleur marksman, ton meilleur tireur, et tu peux faire Molly. Donc tu fais comme au HQ, tu fais la même stratégie au HQ dans ta base et ça va marcher si dans ta base tu as 700, 800 000, 1 million de tireurs parce que ça booste les tireurs de ouf. So that's gonna buff marksmen a lot. So if you have 700k, 800k, 1 million marksmen left in your base, like, you know, I have 1.5 million. If I do that on my defense, I cannot burn because my marksman's gonna kill Crazy Joe always, right? Plus, I'm gonna be reinforced by people. I'm gonna have junior skills and stuff like that. So that's gonna work. Plus, my Lancer's still gonna do damage, even if they not gonna do as much. Eventually, if you want your Lancer to do damage, you can do Freya as well if you have her. But that's not many people have Freya. She's still decent as well. C'est des options que tu peux faire. So let's go register here because I need to. Let's try that. Let's try that. Deploy. And I rank very low because they have 2 troops, right? So some people are, you know, they are using 50, 20, 30, so they rank far higher than me in power. But that's really okay. I have no problem with that. Da-da-da-da-da. Where do we want to put the gear back here? Wouldn't be Mia. Mia is not good for Crazy Joe because Crazy Joe is 3 turns. And Mia, that's applying to the next attack. So you have 3 attacks on Mia. So if you trigger that turn 1, it will happen turn 2. If you trigger that turn 2, it's going to happen turn 3. If you trigger that turn 3, it's going to happen turn 4. There are no turn 4. And Mia is an offensive widget, so it does not work in Garrison, right? When Molly, it works in Garrison. So that skill is not really working. If you are unlucky, you could lose the skill. And understand that for Crazy Joe, if you do not kill infantry turn 1, you have to kill infantry turn 2, then you will kill Lancers turn 3, and it means you never have a chance to target the marksman of Crazy Joe. So that will make you fail. So a Molly giving you a flat 25%, turn 1. So, and the difficulty in Crazy Joe is killing infantry turn 1. It's not killing marksmen or killing lancers. If you manage to kill infantry turn 1, it means that you have the damage to kill lancers. That means that you have the damage to kill marksmen. So if you kill marksmen turn 1, infantry turn 1, you will likely clear the wave of Crazy Joe. So you need to clear wave 1. infantry wave 1, and that helps you 100% of the time, because that's always active. That's 50% chance, so you know 1 out of 2 times it helps you, and you have the widget that work as well, lethality in defensive scenario, so that's extra damage. So that's why Molly is the best. It's because she's helping you, making sure you kill Crazy Joe turn 1 infantries of Crazy Joe with the way the turn works and things like that. So that's something. Let's do that. I don't care. That's very little points, even if I'm not pushing this SVS. So we got a decent joiner, I guess, eventually one day. So that's why I sesh. That's why you really need to start to understand how it works with the game and the things, because if you don't understand the detail, then you will make approximation or you take shortcuts with your thinking and you're not gonna make the right decision. So I was the first one to suggest Mia initially, because I just, you know, in my head was like, Mia is the best joiner, but Mia is the best joiner in a rally with 30-40 turns. She's not the best joiner in a 3-turn scenario, in a defensive scenario with Garrison. Like Molly is far better and far more consistent. Because the other skill of Mia is 50% chance. And again, if it does not proc turn 1, proc turn 2, you're gonna fail 65% on Crazy Joe. So hopefully that helps. So we've done everything we wanted to do, more or less. So it's just chill time before we get our friend Crazy Joe. I'll be online but sleeping. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do that. Or should I save it? I'm gonna save it. So I can find them so quick when I swap troops. Because I always struggle to find them back, you know? Who should I reinforce and stuff like that. You put best marksman, Hector and Molly in HQ2. Exactly. Exactly. Because on Molly and Hector, you want the skill. So the skill is very simple. If you look at the skill, Hector has 25% chance to double damage, but that's very unreliable on Crazy Joe because again, there are 3 turns, so you are not counting on that. What you are counting on is this skill. It's doubling damage of marksman turn 1. Always. Turn 2, it's doing 85% damage from marksman. Turn 3 is doing 85% of 85, that's 75-ish% or whatever is in the 70%. So that's totally insane on a 3-turn fight. That's just madness. You don't care about anything else. There is no heroes that get close to boosting damage of marksman for 3 turns close to that skill. There is nothing in the game that I know. And maybe there is Gen 12 or whatever and I'm not there yet. But to Gen 10 and 11, there is nothing close to that in the game to a 3-turn fight like Crazy Joe. So you just care, that's just why you take Hector, just because of that. Because that's double damage and 85% more than 75-ish% more. Molly, we talked about it. You have 25% flat. You have a widget, which, you know, it's between 5 and 15%. And then you have that skill that's 50%, which is still pretty good on a 3-turn fight. Might happen once, might happen twice in average. If you get lucky. So Molly is really good. And then the marksman, because you have marksman, you need the stats, you need the lethality, you need the health. I mean, not the health, you need the lethality and the attack. So you want the best gear on it and you want the highest attack you can. Eventually, you want decent skills. So there are some marksmen that are bad. If you look at her, every 5 attack, that does not work on Crazy Joe. There are 5 turns, there are 3 turns. She works every 5 turns. So Gwen is not really good. That does not work. Every 4 attack, so that does not work. So Gwen is only working with that. And this skill is not really good. We know it does not work really well. And the widget is offensive as well. So Gwen is one that is actually bad. And I'm wondering if Lin is not better. Because Lin is, I mean, 40% chance to increase damage. That's not that reliable. Attack up every 3 attacks, so that's very low. I mean, overall, they are both very bad. Lin and Gwen, so Gwen is probably just better for the stats, because widgets of Lin is increasing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Lin is a bit better, because here you get a lethality buff, and you get 30% chance to do damage. I don't know, but like Gen 4 and 5, the marksman sucks, you know, but then you have Wayne is good, Bradley is good, then when you have Bradley, it does not matter. Wait, can you tell again what you were saying about Mia and Molly? Which part? Faisal, let me know exactly which part you care about. Hello, brother. Watching you from state 340 for the 340. Thank you. Welcome. Mr. Rada. Or Mrs. Raza? Or Mr. S. Raza? I'm not sure. My best markman is Bradley, so I will still have him. Yeah. Bradley is amazing. Bradley is really amazing. Crazy Joe has infantry, marksman, lancers, right? He had the 3 troops. So if you look at Bradley, attack 25% flat, really good. Have a chance to deal extra damage. That's, you know, that's, you don't really, I mean, to infantry you care, to lancers you don't care, because if you kill infantry you're gonna kill lancers eventually, because they are so much easier to kill. But you still do 25% more to infantry, so that's 50%. I'm like making it very easy, right? That one does not work, right? Every 4 turns, that does not trigger on Crazy Joe. So you have 25% on infantry and another 25% overall, so it's still very good. And the widget is attack in a defensive situation, in a garrison situation, so that's still working. So you have widget working plus 2 skills. So that's, you know, as good as it gets. Can you tell the heroes which you can use to reinforce? If you mean reinforcing cities, you know, you're gonna use everything you can that's offensive. So you might use Reyna, you're gonna use Jessie or Siyun. If you are not using Geronimo, you could use Geronimo. You could use I mean, you can use Alonso and shit, but you know, Alonso is like 40% chance to do extra damage. That could work. Greg is too low. Greg is 20% chance, so that's far too low for Crazy Joe. On a rally that's okay, but for Crazy Joe it's far too low. What else can you use? You can use Flint with only infantry. On a city where everyone is sending only infantry, you can use Flint. That's gonna work well. You can use Mia, but she's not really good, but you can technically use Mia. It's just, she might not do a lot if you're unlucky. But if there are 3 troops, you know, she's still gonna be decent as a joiner. Molly is better for HQ and stuff, but as a joiner, she's likely to be decent. The only thing like that I don't like with Mia is like she does not help you turn 1, and turn 1 is where the turn you need help. So I would ditch Mia actually. I'll ditch Mia. That's mostly it, right? Is defense up. So you have Philly that does 50% damage as well. You could use a Philly eventually. That's, you know, that's 15, and the other one are doing 25, so that's not as good. So that's some option. You were saying something about Crazy Joe that Molly is better than Mia. Yeah, Molly is better than Mia in a garrison because she has a flat damage, 25% that she boosts, so she's increasing. She's not increasing. That's lethality, right? Technically, it multiplies on the lethality side. So, like, you know, it's a bit more complex than that. But just, you know, there is no skill that buff both lethality and attack, and it does like overall damage of 25%. So if you look at Siyun, she does 25%, but that's 25% of that multiplied on the attack side, and attack is multiplied by lethality. So it's more or less 25%, but of half of the damage. Then Jessie is multiplying on the lethality side of the equation. So even if it says damage up, it's not improving more than Siyun, for example. It's just multiplying on the lethality side of the equation. So that's again 25% of more or less half the damage, assuming you have as much lethality and attack. So that's you know, things like that. So So Molly is, you know, she's doing the same, right? She's multiplying on the lethality side. That's 25% of lethality. That's okay. Then you get that could happen, you know, one every other turn. So increase damage dealt as well. So that's not very reliable, but you have one chance out of two to happen in turn one to kill the infantry. That's what you want. And she had the widgets that does lethality in a garrison setting. So that's really good. That's what you want as well. That's why she's good in Garrison, in HQ, is because you have two skills that you can rely on. I mean, widget plus one skill. And then you can, you know, this one can really help you if you need to half of the time. So that's one of the better options. There is no better option. That's the best you can get for Crazy Joe. At least at that stage of the game. You know, Gen 15, I don't know. But at that stage of the game, that's the best you can get. What do you advise for players who are offline? Should they keep their troops in their city? No, they should empty it. They should empty it and it should be reinforced. I reinforced a few offline players because you make a lot of points if their cities are emptied properly, you know? If they do a good job at emptying their cities, you can make a lot of points. So they should totally allow for their teammates to make points by reinforcing empty cities as much as possible. So we all make more points. Plus, they'll make points by reinforcing others, so there is no reason for them not to... Hey, Dad, welcome. There is no reason for them not to participate, basically, in my views. They can totally do it, and it's helping the Alliance. Why are they not reinforced wave 7, 14, 17? Like, people in your alliance are pulling out their troops from offline players' cities. Like, I don't get it. Like, they are not attacked, so they don't need to be reinforced. They are not giving points. That's fair enough. But sometimes you make far more points on a dude like that. That's properly emptied. That's gonna be offline. And you know, there are a few of you. Is he buffing? Why is buffing 20%? Ah. But he's buffing ammo, so that's terrible. Mr. Panda, if you watch, don't reinforce defensive heroes. You make far more points. That is someone that has a million reinforcement in a city that's not properly emptied and online, so it really depends, right? Fair enough, that's okay. Tonton, if you could travel back in time and change one thing you do to your account and make it stronger, I would be Geronimo. If I could change something, I'll get Geronimo, to be honest. But the main thing I would do, if I could change one thing about my account, is invest in Geronimo. So Crazy Joe is about to start. Let's see if it works. My Alonso is shit and Greg is 4 stars with level 2 widget. My Lean is 5 stars with level 5 widget. Which one I should use for Bear? Very likely Lean. Greg is not good offensively. Greg is really not good offensively. Bear is a 10-turn fight. And, you know, we just looked at his skill of Greg, and that's 20% to do 3 turns. So, you know, out of 10 turns, might happen twice. And if it's happening turn 9, you're gonna get it turn 10 and 11 and 12. And that's, you know, so it's not really working. And the other, everything else is defensive on Greg. So Greg, he has one offensive skill, and it's not really good. Lynn, she has... Where are you, friend? She has this one again. So that's gonna work on Bear. You know, out of 10 turns, you're gonna get it 4 times in average. That's pretty cool. That's working every 3 turns. So that's, you know, that's gonna get 15% attack. So that's gonna scale up pretty okay for the end of the fight. That's not too bad. That's not amazing, but that's a, you know, that's an offensive skill. Greg has none. So it's better than nothing. And then you don't get the widget working Garrison. So In both cases, you don't get the widget, and you get a bit of better skills on lean and better stats on lean. Alonso, why he could be working for people that have him is really... But lean is better, I think. You know, people keep saying that lean is better after a while than Alonso. It always depends on the start and the widget. You know, I cannot tell. I mean, I actually don't know from the top of my head when, you know, if you have Alonso 4-star widget 6 versus lean 4 stars widget 4, like that, the kind of details, like, you know, I never remember this thing from the top of my head. But Alonso has very offensive skill. Where is he? I cannot see him. He is here. He has offensive skill, 50% chance, 40% chance to do 50% lethality. So see, it's not that it does not say damage up on the new skill. They say lethality up, which, you know, damage up multiply on the lethality side. As far as I know, always, but there might be an exception. Grow through all troops, 50% chance to do 50% more damage. So that's as well another nice skill. So here it's a 20%, 25% in average, plus he has a widget that works. That's why, you know, that's why Alonso is really great. You have widget plus 2 skills that are really good. But I will use lean, and then, you know, probably Gwen if you go for Gwen. Good luck for Crazy Joe if you are doing it. It's starting, so we'll see how it goes. I love the position. Did I do all I wanted today while we are here? We could do a bit of labyrinth as well. Wow, I'm not using Molly, that's why. That's terrible. That's why it did not work yesterday, because I'm not using Molly. So best marksman, best infantry, Mia. Second best marksman, second best infantry, Molly. Third best infantry, best lancer, and our friend Bradley. So that means, basically, if you want sets for Labyrinth and Arena, you need 2 sets of infantry up to 3. 2 to 3, 2 to marksman or 3 to marksman, depending a bit. For Arena, you need 3 marksmen sometimes, and for Labyrinth, you need 3 infantry sometimes, and you need really 1 lancer in set of gear. So doing a second set of gear on lancers, there are very, very little places it works. Doing 2 sets of hero gear on infantry and marksman is always a good idea, because that's gonna work for both, you know, when you are far enough in your main march, right? Then if you do a third set, then it's gonna be infantry or marksman based on what you care about, Labyrinth or Labyrinth or I should not heal. Can I cancel? I mean, that's 2 troops. It does not matter, but we look a bit at how it goes on who am I making points on and who I'm not. But you can already see the big difference of people, right? 2.1, 2, 1.2, 2.2, 1.4. And the first wave is like not a really good indicator. We'll wait wave 3 or 4 to kind of look. But wave 4 or 5, we'll have a look at points and what works. For Crazy Joe, I always lock down my strongest heroes for my city, Garrison, and send 60-40. Yeah, that's good. But if you have marksman, if you have a million marksman or 700k marksman, you could use Hector. I mean, you are Gen 4. Yeah, you probably don't have enough marksmen to play like a... But, you know, with lower difficulty, you don't need as many as I need, so... It might be working still. What do you think about solo defending 6 farm and HQ in a Shell Alliance? It's just marksman, man. It's really just marksman. It's finding, like... marksman everywhere. That's the best. Maybe... I don't know the heroes you have as that, but there might be a world where you could find like a... you could have maybe a Lancer March or 2 out of 6. But HQ is gonna be marksman with, like, you know, Hector, Molly, best marksman. That's for sure. That's the safest for sure, even without joiners. if you struggle HQ, you can have joiners, but you know, you send like people sending you 1 infantry or something like that with like JC, Jasser, Siyun, so you get the buff of, you get the 25% buff and they don't take kills with 1 infantry. So you could do that, HQ to help yourself if needed. Then for cities, like, I mean, depending on your gen, like what will be good. Because that's, you know, every 5 turn, that does not work. Every 2 attack, that works, right? That Sonia will be pretty good because she has 2 skilled. That works. That every 2 attacks, so second attacks, but that's... Second attacks is, again, it's not really good, right? Because you want to kill infantry, but that's, you know, that's lethality. That's lethality on in defense, so that's good. So she has a 20% plus widget on Sonia. Then if you look at Gordon, every 2 attacks, so that does not work on attack 1. So I don't like Gordon. What gen are you? Then Fred, is Fred good? That does not work. Enemy taken, damage taken up, so that works. 20%. I mean, that's the infantry. I mean, infantry shield with the amplifying the damage taken. So that's only on infantry, but that's okay, right? That's really okay because that's the hard part to kill in Crazy Joe. If you kill infantry, you're gonna kill the rest. And then every 3 strikes, so that does not work. So Fred is not really good. And that's troop attacks offensively, so that does not work in Garrison. Gen 7. Is Sonia less good? Yeah. On Crazy Joe, she is less good. On other scenarios, you know, it depends. We need to look at it. But on Crazy Joe, she's less good. Minister of Strategy or Defense better? I think last time we looked into that was a while back, so I'm not sure I remember, but I think the last time we looked into that was actually this one. Deployment and attack was better than a bit more lethality. But that's a long time ago. That's over 6 months, so... That's what I remember the conclusion was. So I'm doing little point in Alice because Alice is stealing the kills because she said she will be online, but she still have... she doesn't have that much infantry, to be honest. But marksmen are taking a lot of kills, or lancers are taking a lot of kills, so that's a bit of... It's like, you know, it's like we are not killing everything with our infantries, but of course nobody is sending offensive joiners. But see, we still have big problem with people not sending offensive joiners, so we are losing a lot of points here because our infantry are not buffed, so she is getting a lot of kills with our lancers. But wave 6 is always weird that way. Somehow on wave 6 every week, lancers are getting kills when... See, that's a lot, you know, people are sending just lancers. And they got double my infantry skill. I don't know what's going on with wave 6. I need to look into it. Because the next wave are not like that usually. But Sonia, before I go to the next question again, that's 20%. Always. Turn 1, so that's good. That's working every 2 attacks. So it does not work attack 1, turn 1. And what you want again in Crazy Joe is you want to kill infantry turn 1. And that's the only part that is hard in Crazy Joe is killing infantry turn 1. So that works turn 2. That does not really help you. That's look sexy on paper. That does not work for Crazy Joe very well. That's every 5 turns. There are 3 turns on Crazy Joe. That does not work. So these are useless skills. That's okay. And that's okay. But Molly has better skills. She has the same widget. She has 25% instead of 20. And she has a skill that has 50% chance to work. And that works better than this if it procs turn 1. So Molly is better here. Same on the widget. And better with the other skill. Assuming you are using 100% marksman. So it's a no match. Like Sonia is nowhere near as good as Molly. Is that a strategy only for Wells, or can it work for a medium player too? What do you mean for hazard for defending still the 6 farms? Is that still what you mean? Oh, we guys have a lot today on Twitch, so you don't have Geronimo. Yes, I don't. I can get it now. Yes, but he's like, he is useless now, you know? Like, Hector is nearly as good for bear. Hector is very, very close to Geronimo, and you don't have to do the widget. So Geronimo is a lot of money here, plus a lot of money on the widget. So it does not really make sense. So I don't know if it helps that way, but that's kind of where am I with it. There is no point basically at that stage. I have no use of Geronimo. Just need to pay attention to where we are. The question is not about JC, but when is Wooming a good joiner for Garrison, rallies for Garrison? Juicing my juicer, it's mostly when you start to have a lot of hero skills, right? So you know hero skills here, right? If you go here and you look at battle details, when there is like kills in that column in front of the skills, not the troops, right? Not talking about the troops, I'm talking about the 3 top skills on every hero. That's a damage skill. That's our skill damage, right? Some skills are doing damage, but they are like normal attack damage, so they are buffed by like things like Reyna. And these are skill damage, and they are buffed by skill damage hero, which we barely have, and Wooming is particularly reducing 30% of that. So you can see here, Zura has 1, Freya has 1, and Gregory has 1. If it was Blanchette, Blanchette has 2, for example, as you can see. So when you start to have like 3, 4, 5 skills out of 9, it starts to be worse to have a Wooming, because you're gonna reduce, it's reducing 25% of normal attack, so everything else, plus 30% of the skill. So you are a bit above 25%, right? Is that the case? If you have like 5, 6, for sure, if you have 4, 5, it might depend a bit, but you kind of have to look at that, and if the skills are actually doing a lot of damage and kills. And if they are, that's where you can consider Wooming. Let me know if it helps. See, I'm doing a lot of point in that offline dude. So this is well empty. And some people that are not fully empty, I'm not making that much point, and they say they are online. So it's a balance. Salut Night, bienvenue. Ouais, ça faisait longtemps. I'm gonna go back to you as that then. What do you do if people do not have a Max Bradley? I mean, it does not matter. A 2HQ for a joiner, it does not matter. You just want... I mean, we send JC to make it simple. It's better to have a mix, so it's better to have Siyun, whatever. So it's to make it very simple for people, so things are not being messed up. But you know, Bradley is a Siyun, so there is no difference between a Bradley and a Siyun. So I misunderstood your question. You send whichever 25% you can to HQ, does not really matter. I mean, it could technically, it's better to have like a mix of Reyna, Siyun, JC, things like that. But most of us, you know, if we have the right heroes and stuff, we're gonna be okay. Do we have the troops? Oh, I'm fully reinforced. I'm not gonna burn. I'm just trying to make sure that we are okay. So we have someone as infantry. I guess they got kicked out, right? So do we have the rally leader or we don't? Okay, so let me recall. Let me recall. Oh, do we have someone that got it? No, we don't. Come on. So I need to swap gear on Hector and Molly just to be safe. That should be safe, but nobody is messing up. Molly and we said Hector. Sorry for not reading the chat, but I need to make sure that's happening properly, else we're gonna fail because we have no we have only JCs, you know. So he had a bit more troops, but that's okay. So fixing that, I'm not sure I'm strong enough for 20 to be honest, so... So that's pretty good. Should I go for Gordon or Hendrik? I don't see the point of Gordon. Unless you want to play 60-40 and you really need one. That's the only thing I will consider Gordon for. Else I will always go Hendrik. It's a far better joiner. He's amazing in arena. You're not gonna use him so much for solo march and stuff, but like Gordon, you're just gonna use him for 60-40, so... Is Gordon Gen 7 or 8? Yeah, no Gordon. You mean Sonia, no? I mean, if you can do Hendrik, you are Gen 8, so you can do Sonia. So I'll do Sonia, if you want to do 60-40. Yeah, we recruited B and K. So we recruited that dude. He's in my ex-alliance, he's in it, but he's going for Crazy Joe here. And he's a Globe 3, so now we have a crazy player. He's on the Discord as well. So you see like he's topping the leaderboards. So if you... Webster was the first player before in the States. So you can see that there is a big gap. Yeah, so Gordon has no play. Even Sonia, so just do Hendrik. Just go for arena and shit, you know. I'm VIP level 8, 20 260k out of 350 and I have 600k gem. Should I use my gem or... It's hard to say, mate. You know, technically it's the sooner the better. But you know, if we have a seasonal events next week where you can use your gems, you know, you will regret it. So, but like right now, there are very little chance that there is a good seasonal event to use your gems. So I'll either complete some Alliance Showdown with it if you can, or I will wait for like Alliance Mobilization and do a lot of 500k gems task. Because you can do like 4 of them, right? And that's a lot of points. So either you wait for the next Alliance Mobilization, that's gonna be the best option short term if you don't want to wait for a seasonal, else you wait for a seasonal and you will see what happens here. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Gordon is really like a rally leader. And you know, really, if someone really wanted to play 60-40, but you just have René, so it makes little sense to get Gordon. Like Sonia, eventually, if you play 60-40 and you like to burn, you know, why not get Sonia? Because you're gonna get Fred late Gen 9, and it's gonna be a while until you get a better option than René. So why not Sonia? But for everybody else, I don't see the points of Gordon at all. I'm never gonna hit 1 billion. I'm gonna lose 2 or 3 million, no, 20 or 30 million points on Saturday for fighting. So, not, you know, not anytime soon. How did you get that avatar frame? That's for, you know, people creating content on the official Discord. So you have to be part of. That's all I can say. It's like that's a reward you can get if you make contents or guides. You will see people that make guides with it as well on the official Discord too. So you have to be part of that team if that makes sense. Can you tell if Geronimo is replaced later in any gens? Like we do have an infantry hero in later gen which is better than Geronimo. I mean, many are better, especially Gen 7. Like Eddie's Gata, Gen 7 and 8. You don't really use Geronimo. I've seen a few reports of like Dolphins using Geronimo in very offensive setup. But, I mean, when I was Gen 7, everybody dropped Geronimo for Eddie's at that stage. And then, you know, for Bear is good forever. He's a bit better than Hector. But Hector is very, very close to Geronimo. So before people will do Geronimo for Bear because he was the best forever, he's still. But Hector is a lot closer than he used to be, so. I can share the Discord. Thank you for the kind words as well. It's in the description, by the way. You can always find the Discord in the description. But I cannot really get the link with the streamer mode on Discord right now. The link is in the description if you want. Let me know if you have struggle. But because I'm streaming, like Discord is hiding a lot of shit that I cannot copy paste and things. But it is it's actually right here because I'm watching the stream on another screen. Tonton's Discord. That's the permanent link to join, so it's always valid. So I'm gonna swap some marches. Who was online and who was not on wave 14? So wave 14, I had Savaski, Mia, and Alice. So I need to swap Cesure, Satan, Angry Coach. That I'm gonna change next wave. Mark Sector would do better. I don't think so. I don't think so. If you Godspeed, if you would use only marksman, maybe. But because like Hector is really better with marksman. So Geronimo, Gordon, yeah, agree. We've been doing great with 10, 10, 80, Hector, Bradley, Mia again, 60, 40, yeah. I've never seen anybody using that for rallies, so if you want to send a report, we could look at it, but if you want to keep them for yourself, you know, I understand. But I don't know, I haven't seen, like, you know, that's a bear ratio. As far as I know, does it work against 60, 40? Maybe, I don't know. Most of the time, Patrick is still better runner than Wooming. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, they are very similar, to be honest. Like can Wooming be worse than Patrick, actually? If there is a way that Wooming is worse than Patrick. I don't think so. Actually, I don't think so. That's a fair point. That's something I did not consider too much. We can look at that after Crazy Joe. I kind of need to swap troops soon, so... Angry Coach, so I can swap Angry Coach. And I can swap Aura. So what did I give him? I give him Gatot. So if I use Lancers, I forgot what did I do. So let's do that. I could have used Bradley, so I want to swap Mia, Alice as well. Satan. Do I need to give him better stats? Let's go, I don't have time. So I don't have time. And Satan, where were the... Magnus, let's do that. Can I change Mia in 1 minute? Yes, I can. So nearly I've swapped all my march. It's not very efficient. I could have been a bit better, but I'm kind of reading chat as well, so... So I'm not tracking all I do very well. So what do we want here? What offensive hero, what can give? I kind of need to go. I don't know what to do. Let's do Reyna. It's not perfect, but it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna need to speed that up so bad. Yeah, I missed totally the wave 7 because I was so slow to swap. And I didn't even swap. What can I give him? And then the last one I need to swap is Alice. That's gonna be a few speed ups as well. So that's hopefully not too bad. I'm doing okay. I'm doing 4.6. Some people are managing to do a lot more. Somehow I forgot to bring my farm as well because we are live and I said I'm gonna bring my farm. We have a bit of space in the alliance, so would have eventually brought my farm, so it is what it is. When we're done wave 20, I'll be able to catch up a bit on chat as well. What is the best def and attack in Gen 10? I mean, it's always... I don't know what to answer to that, you know? When you ask me for the best, it's like best for who? Like, do you have 3 max whales that can do any ratios? Often the best is what people can do. And, you know, most of the rally leaders, they are built for marksmen or they are built for lancers. Both are very good. The best is teamwork. Things like that. So, without context, it's hard to answer, right? There are very little gens when there is such a ratio that is always better no matter what, and you can blindly say that's better no matter what. It's mostly Gen 6 as far as I know. That's basically it. There is one ratio Gen 6 that's beating everything else, and that's very hard to counter. And every other gen, it depends on your rally leader, it depends on many other factors. So, you know, it's very hard to answer like what's best. If that makes sense. Max Bradley, Max Hendrick for rally or attack, something like Gatot, Gordon or Hendrick. I mean, Hendrick often offensively, right? You often use Hendrick offensively, Bradley defensively. There are some exceptions to it, but that's kind of the general statement. That's kind of what you do. He has far better deployment capacity. Shark, he does not have better troops. Who has the better deployment capacity? Okay, we got BNK. So that's a lot better. I mean, he sent a bit of marksman and whatever, but that's gonna be okay. There's not gonna steal a lot of kills. That's gonna be easy peasy. And then we're gonna gather again. So I'm gonna pop the deployment again. And we're gonna go back to gathering like crazy because that's gathering day to day. I saw I have some question on Twitch. I'll go back to that after the... Are we doing for points? Yeah, that's close to 3 million. That I prefer. That's okay. So it just allowed people to get in. I mean, that's gonna be... We'll see if I can tank it. I have my pets. I know he's stronger than me. So we'll see how it goes with me. You know, I might need a buff next time? I don't know. I have my pet though. Can I snatch a title real quick? Either a title resetting in a sec. No, it's gone. It's gone. I could have taken one if I knew. I mean, I think we are quite safer with him, to be honest. We are quite safer with him than me. I'm not gonna stream Frostfire Mine, I'm gonna make a guide on KT, and I'm gonna use the Frostfire Mine to make the guide on KT as well. So I'm not gonna stream it today. What did he got his point with? Did he send more infantry? I mean, that's insane. Like, oh... Or 200 infantry and marksmen and lancers get so much kill. That's really insane. That's probably because of the square root thing. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, we all got decent amount of points, so that's really okay. But that 200 troops, and that's one of the next topic I want to tackle. But I don't know the math enough from the, like, to be very comfortable with it. But basically, when there is like such a fight like that, like, it's not the amount of troops that you see that are fighting. So it's not like the game is using something like the square root of the amount of troops. So it's reducing the amount of troops by a lot to make the calculation. So when you have like a little amount of troops, you are like, how can 200 troops kill so much? It's because the game is not using 200 and 200, it's using square root of 200, square root of 200, and square root of 100. You know, he got a lot of kills here as well, but it makes no sense, right? That they kill so much. Like 200 troops kills 5.5 million troops of Crazy Joe. It does not match. So it's because it's a square root of things, so it's like the difference between these two numbers that is big is getting a lot smaller when you use the square root formula and the way the game calculates the damage. But that's something I'm not very at ease yet with, and that's something that I'll need to work a bit with before I make a video. But that's something I want to kind of cover soon, because I think that's that could explain a lot in combat and in reports, for people to understand how things work. But I'm trying to understand the math properly, and most importantly to me is like, I like to make guides about what it entails for you, right? It's like knowing how it works, it's good. If it does not change anything the way you play, it's not really important that you know that it exists, right? It's only important to know that it exists if you understand how it impacts your gameplay and the decision you make in the game. So that's why these things... Because I could find the mathematical formula and make a video about it, but I have no interest in that. If you want to find the mathematical formula, you go on Wostner's and you get it, right? It's more like digesting it so you understand what the impact on the game and the gameplay and all of that. So yeah. Sergio, why Molly in HQ? So you missed earlier, but that's very simple. We use 100% marksman, so we don't need lancer stats, so we want skills and widgets. And she has one skill that buff damage, always. She has one skill that buff damage half of the time, and she had a widget that work in Garrison that buff lethality, right? That buff damage as well. This one. So she has one widget that buff damage, one skill that buff damage consistently, and one that's quite consistent as well because it's 50%. So that's one of the best hero for Crazy Joe. There is no other lancer that buffs your marksman that much. You don't care about anything else. You just care to buff the marksman damage. That's why Molly. And it is really that simple. There is no other reason. It's just about the skills and the widget. You have tried using 60-40 lineup with Mia and 3 defensive joiner. I imagine that lineup is almost unbeatable. The issue with the defensive joiners is they are bad. They are bad for most of them, right? So you use Mia, then maybe you use Wooming and you use Patrick, and then you don't have any other good defensive joiners. Maybe then later you can have Gatot eventually, but that can be it, right? You can have Wooming, Gatot, Mia, Patrick. There is no other good joiners that are defensive that I can think of, because defensive joiners, that's a defensive joiner, right? It's either reducing the damage of the enemy or reducing the damage taken by your troops. That's 20%. Like you have two, it's an equation, right? So if you have a multiplier of 25% on one side, which is JC, Jasser, Siyun, which is Bradley, which is Magnus, and you have a 20% multiplier on the other side, you have 5% more on the 25%, you know. I'm making it very simple. It's not exactly like that, but you get the idea, right? So a 20% joiner like that is roughly 4% worse than a 25% joiner, if that makes sense. So it's like after you calculate that, it's kind of coming up as a 21% joiner versus a 25 on the other side. So the 25 is always better. So you have very 20% joiner are all bad. All of these are bads. Bokan is bad. Sergey is bad. Baiti is bad. That's why you want to use Patrick, because he's a 25. It's not because he's boosting health, it's because he's a 25. You care about the percentage, because at the end of the day, it's a big formula that calculates the damage, and you want to give the biggest multiplier to that formula. That's kind of the TLDR of it, right? Too long to read. TLDR is like, you just want to get the bigger multiplier to your overall damage. So your damage is lethality multiplied by attack. Your defensive stat is health multiplied by defense. You have like a kind of an equation and a formula here. And then after, the joiners are applied after. And then you want to multiply all your stats and all your things by the highest numbers you can have on the joiner. That's why Mia is so good, because she's an above 25% joiner. That skill, the way it works, it could be far above 25% joiner. That's why you always want a Mia, because you multiply everything by far more than a JC, by far more than a Patrick, by far more than a Siyun or a Jasser. So you get the output is just more. Just as simple as that. Mia is not good for Crazy Joe, Sergio. Crazy Joe is 3 turns. Only 3 turns, and that skill of Mia is buffing, is putting a card that's available for the next turn, so you can never trigger Mia turn 1 for that skill. And the only turn that really matters is turn 1, because you attack Crazy Joe's infantry and you want to kill Crazy Joe's infantry, so you want to have skills, widget that apply to turn 1 to kill Crazy Joe infantry. And this is random, it might not happen turn 1. This cannot happen turn 1 because it's only applying to the next turn. So you apply the curse turn 1 if you get lucky, and then you do the damage next turn. So Mia is bad for Crazy Joe because of that, because it's a 3-turn fight. Mia is great everywhere else. She's great for Bear, it's a 10-turn fight. She's great for rallies, it's like 30, 40, 200 turns, because you have a lot of turns. She's really great. For Crazy Joe, it's only 3 turns. She's terrible because the way the skills work. That's why you cannot trust, like, you cannot make decision in the game looking at the tooltips. You have to learn the mechanic of the skill, and each skill have different mechanics. Some are similar, some are different, so you have to learn that. And when you understand that, you can make good decision. If you don't want to do that and you are lazy, and you have to trust what people say. There are only 2 options. Either you trust what people say and you find very good sources of information, which is mostly WoS nerds, or people that are documenting themselves of WoS nerds. Everybody else will likely tell you bullshit, and I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Most people are doing their tests poorly. Most people are misunderstanding the game. It is what it is. I've been there, I've done that. I've been making videos that I misunderstood the game. They are still probably part of the game that I'm misunderstanding. Some skill I'm not understanding fully. But you have to go to where people are testing things properly, and in Whiteout Survival, it's mostly that WoS Nerd Discord, that's the best place I know, that is public. I'm sure some alliances are doing that very well, but they are not sharing it on YouTube, they are not sharing it anywhere else, so we have to do with what's available. Hopefully that helps. Is Amos a good defensive joiner? Amos is bad. It's working in a weird way. I have the detail on Discord how it works, but it's bad. So that triggers turn 4, then turn 9, then turn 14, then turn 19, then turn 24, then turn 25. It's removing the damage that you do with your infantry, which can be a lot. As well, infantry still do a lot of damage. And it creates a situation where often where your infantry is not dying, but your backline is dying, your marksmen are dying. So it makes a fight very long, but you never win the fight because you have alive infantry and you don't have anything else. So the damage reduction on marksmen is very, very low. It's very, very low. So the marksman's gonna die from lancers, they're gonna die, especially if you have lancers at the back. Amos, I don't know if you play... If you play only against marksmen, maybe Amos have a space as a counter to only marksman ratio, so like 40-0-60, but it will need to be looked into. I'm not even sure, to be honest, I'm not even sure. So Amos is overall considered very bad, and Amos is considered like below the 20% joiners we were talking about that you don't want to use anyway. So Amos is one of the worst joiner that you can have. Whiteout Survival, Kingshot, Last War Survival, which one is the best? The one you prefer, I guess, Enjoy the Life. I don't know, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you what is best for you. I barely played Kingshot, I never played Last War Survival, I have no idea. Pick the one that you like the most for the graphic, I guess, to start with, and then if you don't like the gameplay and stuff, then swap to the next one or try all of them at once, but you're gonna have a headache and it's gonna be insane. You're gonna have your productivity at work like going to shit. It's gonna be terrible. But I cannot tell you what's best. It depends on, you know. I think I prefer Whiteout. I like the theme of the game, right? Just like the snow and things like that is kind of what I like. If you like more knights and stuff, then, you know, Kingshot is maybe better. Is Kingshot better than Whiteout? I can't tell. I can't tell. It's very close to me, so... Why did I lose power? What did I lose power? I was not higher in power earlier? Was I? I think I was higher in power earlier. Maybe Mia, Rene, Wooming Patrick, that will work, yeah. That's a very good that's a very good team. That's a very good team. I mean, if you use Lancers and you are not using Rene in the rally leader, you need Rene. That's very simple. If you are not using Mia, which you would not use on Lancers, you're gonna use Mia. So these are two fixed. You cannot do anything else, right? If you are using a 60-40, you cannot remove Rene, you cannot remove Mia. They are the best joiner by far. Then what else do you have? It's either a JC Jas or Siyun kind of heroes. So it depends on the rally leader. If they don't have attack up or if they don't have a lethality up or damage up, then you can use JC or Siyun kind of heroes. But Patrick is safer, Wooming is safer. The other alternative is Hendrik Gen 8 when you have Hendrik, because Hendrik is a 25% and nearly nobody else is doing what Hendrik is doing. So that's always applied to the best of its value, let's say, to put it simply. That's one of the best joiner as well. So basically Gen 8 plus, you know, Gen 9, 10. If you are using Lancer, you are using Rene, Hendrik, Mia. And whichever other 25%, likely Patrick. And the rest depends a bit. But if you are using that base, it's kind of sorting out your problems of deciding on which joiner to use. Could be a Wooming as well. If you do not want to have like any risk of overlap, Wooming could be a good choice. I have no idea for the last War Survival. I really don't know. Kingshot, I don't know as well. Whiteout Survival. I've seen some bigger channels on Kingshots. Maybe Kingshot a bit more, but I don't know. I know one guy in Kingshot that does very good guides. I've watched quite a few other people that's kind of in Whiteout. They don't understand the game mechanism, so they just say what people say. Let's say, you know, defend with Patrick and attack with JC, which is Shenko and whatever the name is of that dude. in Kingshot. So you have many people repeating like old saying without understanding the game. And, you know, I used to be there, so I'm not judging. I'm just saying that it's a fact in the game we are playing. Is like half, you know, 95% of the people, they have no clue about the game mechanism, about the math formulas. And I don't understand myself everything yet. So, you know, I'm again not blaming anybody for not knowing. I'm not blaming anybody for sharing what they think is true. I'm the first one to do that. But you have to take into consideration that when you take advice from someone, if they cannot tell you why it's best, and there are a few things I cannot tell you why it's best on things I'm suggesting, I just trust the source of information. And that's things I'm gonna eventually learn myself and understand better. But most of the things I suggest are capable of telling you what is best, and not just because, you know, I've been told by my R4 for the last 2 years that you should use defensive joiners on Crazy Joe, which make absolute nonsense when you understand the game. So you know, we live in a world where with all the best intention, we kind of spread bad knowledge basically. And again, I've been there doing that myself, so not blaming anybody for it. It's just really something we need to learn how to do better at the community, and learn like proper, I guess, information about how it works, because some people found out. So some people eventually found out how it works, so we can all benefit from it. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And the main issue is hero skill. Like the game, the mathematical formula about how the game works, we know. That's very easy. Especially if you're a math guy. If you're not a math guy like me, it takes a bit of an effort, but that's really, you know, you can understand. The problem is these skills, many are working differently, and some are not working at all the way they are described in the game. Mia, that's not working at all the way it's described in the game. Gwen, it's not. Amod, it's not. Like, there are many skills that do not work the way they are described. So these are to be tested, and to be like, people make hypotheses, like they are like, okay, maybe it worked that way, they test it and they validate it. It's kind of the scientific process until we find either we are close to the truth, or we are close to, or we found out how it works. And sometimes we never found out how it works, but we find a good approximation, and that's good enough. Like when, you know, I'm not sure we are sure 100% how it works, but it does not work like that, and it's not good most of the time, things like that. So hey Kuchi. They have 1 or 2 Philly as a joiner. They're undefeated. It's not because they're undefeated that they are the best at understanding the game. Yeah, 1 Philly could be good, but the problem with Philly is attack up and defense up. So defense up, there are very little heroes that do defense up. So it's often fully multiplicative, right? There are very little heroes. But attack up, you are using a Siyun, that's additive with a Siyun. So you are losing a bit, right? If you had another 25% joiner that was unique, like a Patrick, let's say you remove that second Philly, and they are not using Patrick, you will get more benefit of that Patrick than the second Siyun if that Patrick is unique. If the rally leader do not have a hero that does plus health, and if there are no other Patrick joining, right? It will be more beneficial. You know, there are small details that even the best player don't know. That doesn't mean, you know, they probably done a lot of tests, and maybe they know something I don't as well. So you always have to keep that in mind. Maybe they have something to teach me, and there is something I don't understand. But from my current understanding and talking to, you know, the people in Most Nerds and looking into that, 2 Philly make very little sense. Maybe 1, why not? It's a 10%. If you don't have attack up, if you don't have defense up, it's a real 25% joiner. You know, it's pretty good, so... So, you know, if they are watching or anything and they have an explanation, I'm really as well open to it. I'm just cautious, you know, it's a tough place, right? Because If there is something I don't know, I might say something bullshit, and at the same time, there are things I'm feeling comfortable with. So I'll kind of try to be convincing with it, but again, you know, it could be... There might be a skill I don't know how it works. There might be a bug in the game that they found out, and then somehow they trigger it with that, and it works better than it should. There might be many things. So having ammos, I don't know. I mean, 10% infantry, they're gonna die quick, right? They're gonna die quick, so... like... with... I mean, I struggle to understand the 10-10-80. I don't know why it makes sense. You tell me you will play a very offensive ratio. You are using Mia, so you tell me like maybe 14, 16 for 80, make more sense. You have a bit more infantry, they'll survive a bit longer eventually. But you know, 10% infantry, they might be killed very, very quick. So that means that you have to kill their infantries very, very quick. So you have to kill their infantries faster. But then they are killing your 10%. So your 80% marksmen need to kill the opponent's infantry faster. So, yeah. But you know, that's something I don't know, so it could be working. That could be part of the thing I don't know. Seems a bit odd, but you know, some things are sometimes. Sometimes we get surprised. Oh, we're doing some. Not gonna do Frostfire Mine. I'm gonna do it in Annins 2. That's gonna be the I'm gonna register in 2 hours and record the video. I'm probably gonna go back to work. It's been 2 hours, kind of the middle of the day for me, so I'll get some food, slowly go back to work. Hopefully it helps a bit with the joiners. I know it's a complicated topic. It's a, you know, such a headache whenever we talk about joiner. I wish I could find a way, and I'm trying to think very hard about like, how can we make joiner simple for most people to understand? Because right now my solution is either you trust what I say, and I'm trying to educate myself as much to not make mistakes in what I say, or you go do the research work yourself. You go on WoSnerds, you learn the skills one by one, you type, you know, you type the name of the hero plus skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, you look at how they work, you study, you ask questions, you look at people test, you look at the data of the test, and that's, you know, most of people won't go through that. I can, even myself, sometimes I'm, you know, lazy to do that, so I can imagine that many people are too lazy to do that, or don't have the time or the patience to do that, and that's really okay. So there are not that many, you know, there are not really a world in between when... Because when you start to understand how it works, you have more questions than answers. You have more questions than answers, and there are answers... Some skills are very easy, some situations are very easy to find an answer or to answer, some are very complex. One of the worst ones, if you want to have fun, look at how Gwen works, and you know, the TED they've done and all of that, you know. Go on WoSnerd, you type Gwen S1 in the search and you read about it all, and you know, spend an afternoon trying to do that. So it's far more complex than people tend to think. I wish it was easier, but it's not. I'll take a last couple of questions and I'll go slowly. Thanks, Tonton. Thank you. Are you going live on SVS? I will be live on SVS, yes. I'll be live on SVS. Probably for the full afternoon. Wife is aware. She, you know, she's okay with it. We'll do things other days, other time. I think it's gonna be a good battle. We have a good opponent. We have some new people. We have BNK and people like that, so... So yeah, that's gonna be cool. So I'll be live. I don't know if I'm live for the burning. That's making the stream a lot longer. I might be live for the burning as well. We'll see. How is your War Academy doing? I'll open it quickly. I'm mostly done with infantry. I mean, mostly. These are stupidly expensive. That's 1,000. So these are very expensive, the last levels. Marksman, I'm 7, 7, and 4. Infantry, I'm 8, 9, 5. And Lancers, I'm gonna be 9, 8, 5. So it is what it is. We'll see if it's required. Which hero skill can be used to count turns? Most people use Gatot because that's activated once per turn, basically. But you can only count the amount of turn on the winner side. Because if you kill the enemy's infantry and they have Gatot, that's not gonna be activated, right, for a few turns. So let's say it took you 25 turns to kill Gatot enemy's infantry, and it's gonna take you 10 turns to kill Lancers and Marksmen. So you're gonna see the count of Gatot of the losing side to 25, right? But there was 10 turns of killing, you know, Lancers and infantry, so that's not gonna be accurate. But if you are on the winning side, and assuming that not all your infantry died, so it has to be like a winning side with a bit of a margin, right? You have to look at the report, and the report has to show that it's a winning side. But on top of that, you know, if you look here, you have to have some survivors, right, in infantry. If you have some surviving infantry somewhere in the report, in the winning side, you can use Gatot. Then the other way people are using it, and they are taking like, you know, 25% skills, then it's a 50% skills, and they're kind of making averages of that, right? But that's not working as well. So the best way is a skill like Gatot, and I don't know if there are many others. But that's one of the best one I'm aware of when you are Gen 8. But again, winning side, and if you have infantry left in the report, else you might miss a few turns. You know, if the combat is 36 turns, 36 turns instead of 33, it that matter a lot, I don't know. But they kind of give you, then when you have the amount of turns, you can know if if you were lucky on your, you know, on your skill that have like a low chance to proc, like, you know, the 40% one, the 25% one, you kind of judge the rest. So it takes a bit of an effort. By the way, she mentioned you in his video. Yeah, I saw. I actually, you know, refreshed YouTube, and the video was like 2 minutes old when I was like, what the heck? And then I watched it and I give him a comment. That was pretty cool. Prep score right now. I'm not pushing myself, but that's where we are. We were ahead yesterday a bit, 120 million, and we are ahead today 100 million. If they're attacking after that. Yeah, but Amos is working turn 4. He's activating turn 4 and is working turn 4 and 5, I believe. Then it's 9 and 10. So by turn 4, I don't know if you have a lot of infantry with 10% infantry. So I don't know how much, you know, how quick they die, basically. That's a full garrison against full attack. So let me think about it. So full garrison versus full attack, or half garrison versus half attack have a different amount of turns. I would assume not. Godspeed. It depends a bit on heroes. Like, for example, if you have like Amos and Gatots, like Amos, for what I know, for example, he makes like fights go from like 30 to 40 turns to 70 turns because the infantry never die somehow, something like that. So you could have a big variation between those genres and stuff, but you know, you have less infantry as well. You have less infantry, less marksmen, so I would assume that the amount of turn is pretty similar, to be honest. I would assume that the amount of turn, but that's something I did not really look into, so I could be wrong, to be honest. But I don't know if there is like a question behind the question. Like, that's... Because it feels to me that it does not really matter. The amount of turn do not really matter. So it's like, you are getting at something else. Huh? Yeah, they have wells. But now we have BNK, so you know. I feel a bit more comfortable with BNK. So basically we got like from last transfers, we got BNK, we got Laura. So top 12 in our state, so that could be a rally leader kind of. And we got Diesel as well. I mean, he's a bit below Diesel. I'm not sure if he will be a rally leader. I don't really know how he's built, so I'm not too sure. But we got eventually 2 extra rally leaders and a big one that will be our main BNK. So that's gonna help us a lot. What do you mean by photographic mines are very difficult to reach top 3? For testing purpose, it really depends, right? I think it really depends, and it's very hard. That's when people try to understand one skill. So let's say, people find out that Gwen is not doing at all what it is here, right? So they are like, okay, making, they are like, maybe it does that. So let's take, is it reducing health, and is it improving damage? Is it doing something else? Like they made a lot of hypotheses and they tested them, right? So often in that case, what they're gonna use, they're gonna use like 5k versus 5k, 1k versus 1k, 10k versus 10k. They're gonna use a very little amount of troops. They're gonna use only, maybe only Gwen, because, if you start to use other heroes, then they're gonna mess up the results. They are using T5 troops, because T5 troops, they do not have skills. So if you look at T6, you start to have these skills, that's messing up the results. So you have to use T5 troops that start to have, and not Fire Crystal T5 if possible. So you have to have like a test account. So people have like test accounts, and sometimes it's like accounts with as close as possible to 0 stats for testing skills. So they are not doing their island, they are not doing their pets. Like, it's very, very specific, right? The way they test things is like very meticulous, and it's like the scientific approach. Like, you are trying to remove the noise and all of that. So T5 troops, no joiners, and no other heroes. And then they make, theories about how it should work, and they test it, and someone else tests it, and they try to figure things out. And then when they want to test like how it works, is, for example, I'll pick a random example, but Sonia is written that it is damage up, right? It's 20% damage up. Usually, if you have a JC and another JC, it's 25% damage up on both sides. It's additive between them. So it's plus 50%. Instead of plus, if it was multiplicative, it would be what? 56.25%, something like that. Instead of 50 if it's additive. But, so with test, because they can very control the amount of troops, the amount of injured and stuff, they found out that actually Sonia is somehow multiplicative with other damage up, and damage up is multiplying on the lethality side of the equation. So with like very precise tests like that, they managed to find is A skill is additive or multiplicative plus B skills, right? So that's how they came to conclusion about that, and they do the same for bear, things like that. It's like, is defense down, improving damage. They attack bear with Southern T5 infantry, and then they pop the 10% defense down, and then they see that with Southern infantry, the next time it does a lot more damage for Southern infantry. And because there is no variation with Southern infantry, there is no heroes, it's only Southern infantry. So you can test this thing in isolation very easily. So that's how these tests are done. When it comes to rallies and controlling joiners, when you have like, 3 heroes with 9 skills, plus you have skills on joiner, let's say you put a Mia in the mix, like that testing is very, very hard because there is a lot of variation. Like if you get Mia to happen turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and not happen turn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for example, it's a very different outcome than if it does not happen turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because at the beginning of the fight, when there are the most of your marksmen, the most of your lancer, the most of your troop, you do a crazy amount of extra damage, and that you cannot check with the report. There is no way to know which turn each skill activated, right? You cannot know that, and there are 30 turns, 40 turns, 50 turns. So you could see that you get luckily average with the amount of skill that triggered, but you don't know if they happen at the end of the combat, if they happen like throughout the combat and they were well spread, or if they happen really at the beginning and you get really lucky. And if you use Hector, you could have Mia proccing on 25% Hector. That's get insane turn, and if it's happening on turn 1, then you are mushing through the opponent's infantry. But that the report do not tell us how to do that. We don't know that. We don't know if it happened together, if it happened separately, if it happened turn 1 or turn 10, or we just know the average it happened. So that's where like testing with rallies is very, very rough, and that's why most people get it wrong, is because they try a ratio, they do one rally, and they change, and they do another rally, and they change the joiner, and you cannot work with data like that when there are so many variables that are random. You cannot work with that. When there are like 9 skill plus 4 of the joiner that up to 13 skill, some are flat and always work, some of them, you know, maybe 5 or 10 of them have like, they are highly volatile, and so you will technically need to spend hours doing the same ratio with the same joiners, with the same heroes, and do that 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and then you start to get enough data. With a 5-minute rally, imagine the time it takes. So to test one rally, one ratio, one joiner setup, you will need to spend half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours just to get enough data to validate or invalidate this one. If the outcome is if the outcome is really bad and you are getting crushed, if the outcome is really good and you are getting you are winning, you might not do, you know, you might ditch the losing side, right? Be like, okay, it does not work, it's really bad. If people have similar stats, and then when you do rallies, you often have to find people with similar stats, right? Because you will always have different stats. Nobody have the same stats. So like with all of this complexity, good luck, man, to test rallies. And that's why most people are coming to the wrong conclusion, I think, when they test rallies, is because they are not doing enough. And they are basing their decision based on the result of the rally they do, and they do very little. So I think that's why I prefer the approach to understand the mass of the game, which is a lot easier to understand than spending hours and hours with 10 people on both sides doing rallies, you know, joining and stuff. It's like a headache. It's like really a headache. So yeah, testing, I'm all for it. Testing it well in Whiteout Survival, good luck. I don't think, probably we can count the amount of states that do that on our hands. If I had to bet. Most states, they change things every other rally. And again, if it's getting destroyed, you can ditch it, right? You can ditch it. But it's just so hard. It's just so hard. So I don't know. Like there is a simulator. So that's why they made a simulator on the worst nerds. Like Ryo, he made a simulator. But the simulator does not have the 15 gen of heroes, for example. I think as of today, the simulator is pretty good. I did not use it too much myself, so that's maybe one of the next thing I want to do with the kind of the troops amount and the root square and what we talked about earlier, is like kind of going there myself and playing with that. But again, I cannot make a video until I spend maybe half a day working with the simulator, looking at what they've done with it, how it works, the change logs, what's broken about it, like, you know. And it's like a day, 2 days of work, plus recording the video. It's like, you know, I have a job, so it's really tough. So, but that's things I really want to do, because that's one way you can do, yeah, a lot of volumes with your rallies and ratios is with the simulator. And that's why it's really important we have one. That's why, yeah. What ratio will you be using on the next battle? I'm not gonna say what we're gonna use. There are probably people watching or that could watch. So yeah, we are not gonna say what we're gonna use. And it's probably changing because we have different rally leaders. So it's probably not the same as we used to. But the way it works for us, you know, it's not a secret. It's not gonna spoil anything. It's like, if you look at our leaderboards, we have a lot of strong players. If you look at like the labyrinth, like most states, you know, they have a top 3, top 5, and for us, we have a lot of people that are around here, right? If you look at all of these guys are very close in power. And you know, one of them is built for marksmen, one of them is built for lancers. So we basically use whatever they are built for, you know. It's just the way it is. These are not max people, they are like often all around. And we can use whatever, or they are really focused on lancers or marksmen. So we use whatever they have. That at least for offense. For defense, we probably have a specific ratio we are aiming at. That will be, you know, between Webster, BNK, and Jackie Chan that they will be using. But you know, BNK is like, he has everything, so. Yeah, I agree, Godspeed. So yeah, it's really not that simple, to be honest. So that's why I'm at the same time not talking too much about it, and I'm trying to make content about it, because first of all, I still don't understand every aspect of it. So I have some learning to do and deep dive to do for myself to really make sure that, you know, sometimes when you understand a part of a system, you can make conclusion and stuff. And then when you understand the other parts, you're like, maybe I missed that, you know, maybe I did not understand that relationship between the two things. So I'm kind of like, I'm fairly comfortable about most joiners and all of that, most of the skills and stuff like that. But there are some parts of the combat systems that I have yet to explore. So if you would have like Ryo or PCB, you know, on the video, and we will talk for 2 hours, they will very, very likely bring maybe enough more nuances and other stuff, right? But you know, I'm spending time making videos, and they are spending times doing the theory crafting, and so I'm trying to learn from their work so I don't have to do it myself, because then I don't have time to make videos. That's kind of the way it works. So, you know, trying to learn, right? Trying to learn. Hey, Red One, thank you. I'm good. I'm gonna go, but I'm very good. It's about, I need to go back to work. I have a lot of things to do, so. And video to record in 2 hours as well, so. That was really cool. I hope you got some of things that help you think. And, you know, it's like when people ask me what's best, I don't know what to answer, you know. It's like, what best in Gen 4? I'm like, you know, who am I talking to, you know? Who am I talking to? So I'm trying to as well, you know, find ways to like speak to the masses, I guess, to the most likely cases in my videos, like most, you know, and then keep in mind that there are a lot more nuances and it's far more complex than we often would like. I got plenty of questions, I see. I got plenty of questions. Something maybe to note, and let me just check what they did on social media today. They did not say, so I don't know if that's the case for us, but on Kingshot yesterday, they announced the next transfer window, and it's the 7th to the 13th of June. So I don't know if it always match on Kingshot and Whiteout, but they announced transfer for a month and a half. So that's a very weird one. So I don't know if we'll get that on Whiteout. I was actually hoping they'll tell us today or yesterday, but they did not. So that's the part I'm like, do we have Katie? We don't have Katie, guys. I need to ask if it's ready. Okay. I think I'll try to understand the Gwen thing. I mean, she's just bad. There are so little cases you can use her, so I will not, you know, just know it's bad and move on. But that could be interesting. But for me, I did not dig Gwen that much. Like E11 Eshar, I don't know how you will pronounce it, like Il Eshar maybe. On our Discord, like he knows, I think he's one that knows the best on Gwen. And there is another dude. Maybe that's Kuchi actually, that was there earlier. I forgot which one. You were asking if they have whales. They have whales. It's a leading state for 2019. So they are very, very strong as well. So they have whales, so that's going to be a fun match. I thought you were saying that they have whales. I did not see your question mark. I'm gonna go slowly, guys. So the rally sheet, and that's maybe where I'm kind of concluding, is trying to, whatever I said today about joiners, is trying to make sure that if there is a attack up like Bradley in the rally leader team, then you don't have an attack up in the joiner, then you have a damage up. So it's like multiplicative between them. So every line, I'm trying to keep track about all the skill of all the heroes in the rally leader and try to match the joiner that do not have any skill that is additive with each other, which is not possible for Gen 1, 2, 3, 4. There is not enough choices. But beyond that, particularly Gen 6, 7, 8, they have a lot of choices, right? What is expert power for BNK? Should I show that? Is that a secret? It's very strong everywhere. He's like 59. Is that maxed? Yeah, that's, I know, that's not maxed. He's 3. Oh, wow. Sultan is like 73. Like, I don't know, how can you, when you buy everything, how do you buy more than everything? Maybe BNK don't buy everything, But like, how do you buy more than everything? That's the max, right? 75 million in the max. So these guys are buying everything. But like, how can you buy more than everything? Wow, that's nearly 50 people maxed out. That's a shit ton of money. I have all the time asking in AC why not. Yeah, we had that yesterday. Like, I want to use Gwen. It said she's good. She's 25%. Let me use Gwen. Because people want to have a hero. That's not the end of the world if they do. It's not the end of the world. But then if you go to Discord, on mine Discord, if you go to the guides, if you go to the battle and events and combat, and if you go to the Rally Joiner Explained thread, so not the Rally Heroes Joiner and Ratios, not that one, the Rally Joiner Explained guide, you have, I'll put the link in the chat. I'll send it to you on Discord. You have like the compilation of the on the main threads about Gwen. I sent to you on Discord. So that's, if you find any other one that are really relevant and when you look at it, please let me know. But that's the main test and explanation. It's not really clear to me when I read it, but to be honest, I'm not a math guy, so I need to make an effort to understand what they talk about. So if you're a math guy, kudos to you. It makes life a lot easier when you try to understand the game. So it's not that I'm bad at it. I used to be very good with math, but it's not a skill I'm actually practicing in real life for the last 15 years a lot. So I've been kind of neglecting using my I'm not a mathematician by any means, but I have a decent understanding, and that's one of the things that is not too hard for me to understand usually. It's just very rusty, so I need to relearn a lot of things, which is not a bad thing. Consider doing this, guys. Don't forget to do your facilities. But that's gonna be it for me for today. I'm gonna run. I'll see you. I'll do a French stream on Thursday for Crazy Joe. The French people have a lot of questions for Crazy Joe. I start to see that the most people in the English community, at least in my viewers, you guys start to be on points with the. I had to make like 4 videos and many streams, but I am happy it helps. And the French guys need a bit of help, so I'll stream Crazy Joe for them, so I can answer questions, and I'll be live on Saturday, worst case scenario. So, any thought on the new expert? Optional, if you like it, that's cool. I spent a bit on it today to rank and get more charms. It gets kind of expensive when you are there, for a medium spender at least, but it's still 10% lethality and health, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the little I spent, to be honest. Like I spent like the $5 and the $20 pack, something like that, or the $10 and the $20 pack, plus a bit of things I had, so if you spend that on charms, you will never get 10% of stats. So that's pretty good. The first few levels at least are pretty good overall for medium spender. For free to play, 100% optional. Really 100% optional. Can be skipped. Sorry. Can be skipped if you have better things to do. And do it on the side and do it a bit later. See if we have something more important. It's really like a Rone. Like, as free to play, I will skip Rone and Catty quite a bit and focus on like, I think Holger is far more interesting, for example. Holger is far more interesting, Baldur far more interesting, Valeria far more interesting. So I'll focus on these and put, you know, Fabian if you really care about Foundry and Tundra Armlings eventually a bit, but that's, you know, Fabian is really optional unless you really like Foundry and Tal and you do Tal and you participate in Tal, you play like actively, you are in the top 64 alliances and shit. And, you know, these are the 3 that I would consider optional. But I'll make an updated the kind of tier list on today's video. So I'll play Frostfire Mine. Maybe I'll cut the middle of it. I'll just play maybe the beginning and the end to see how I rank and how much point people make. And I'll make a quick Catty guide and update on experts, but nothing more than that. Yeah, for me, it's, you know, that's really cool. You get the talents a lot faster. That's whatever. I put, you know, 5 days of research time on it and some books, but that's really whatever. And that's pretty cool, you know. Some charms, some more charms. You know, that's I mean, that's 24 design every week, every 2 weeks. That's 50 design. It's very little. It's very little. It's really, really little. So it's not a game breaker. If you have it, you have, you know, that's good. If you don't, who cares? But peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Enjoy the week. Good luck as well for work and stuff. Cheers.
Yeah.